Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the module short story narrations for the various operators in Arknights, and today with the module short story and module for operator Zima. So then, as per usual, we're gonna begin with the short story itself and then take a look what the module does to upgrade Zima's talents and traits. But before that, I will say, however, that the module short story does connect in a tiny bit to a certain thing in the Children of Ursus side story, which Zima was part of, obviously. It's not a spoiler towards anything in the story, just towards a certain segment towards the end, and you'll see in a moment what I mean when we start going over it. However, if you have not had the opportunity yet to listen to or read the Children of Ursus side story, I recently did a narration with character voicing for that particular side story, so I will leave a link for that one in the description of the video if you want to go and have a gander at it. However, be warned that the Children of Ursus side story is probably at least in the top 2. I don't know what else to put there, but definitely like one of the top very dark side stories in Arknights. So when you go and listen to that one, please remember that there might be sensitive things in there. But anyway, let us begin with the module story, shall we? Alright, so our short story and the module today are called A Graduation Gift for General Frost, or as it's written here in Russian, it says Генерал Мороз, and I will return to that at the end of this narration, but first let's go over the story. Behind Zima's back, someone gently prods her with a finger. She doesn't turn to look, she knows instinctively that it's Istina reminding her that her earphones are on too loud. Zima likes to listen to music, and especially cherishes an electronic genre popular among the Ursus youth known as hard bass. The pumping rhythm and heart-shaking bass of the tracks always fires her up, and her limbs can hardly resist the urge to fill with the beat, a desire to throw hands and feet and bust down the joyless everyday, an eagerness to free her tied-up mind, always ready to color her soul. There was a time where she'd sometimes wear earphones in battle too, grooving to the rhythm and stepping to the beat while cleaning up bandit nobodies. Following one training session, Doberman sternly pointed out to her that, "As I see it, you're simply venting your violence." Zima sneered at that and nothing more. Anyone could tell she wasn't the impulsive girl she seemed, for she could distinguish between people she could openly challenge verbally without fear of blowback, like the doctor, and people who really cared about the rules, from whom rebellion was best kept internal. For youth like her, knowing that distinction was one of the principles of survival. Her other instructor thought differently. Gенерал was by no means strict with Zima's attitude, but the Casimir's knight's invulnerability and tacit, solid endurance left Zima frustrated and powerless. Gенерал even listened to a few of her favorite tracks and told her, "It's fine music, very full of energy." Zima eyed her somewhat warily at that. "You gonna lecture me or something?" The Knight of Casimir shook her head. "No, whatever music you listen to, I have no objections." That was nice enough, but what came next was less pleasant to hear. "But you still lack the strength to allow yourself to be distracted in battle. If you wish to earn a passing grade from me, this won't do." Zima couldn't help but glare at her. "I will hold on to your player and earphones for now." The Knight of Casimir paid no mind to General Zima's fury, instead calmly speaking words she had never heard before, not even from her parents. "Come now, no need for that frown. I'll spar with you using one hand. Once you can best me like that, and are qualified to lead a team, I'll gift you a new set. Casimir's latest model. I've no doubt you'll like it." General Zima traces her hand over the latest Kazimierzian communicator / player on her wrist, without a word cutting off the music she had playing and switching it over to access her squad's comms channel. Her teammates chatter away, the mix of voices no less relaxed than the pumping heart-based rhythm. Zima listens for a while, not realizing she's unconsciously moving her leg, tapping out the rhythm. In her head now spins a rhythm more passionate, more fervent than her most beloved of tunes. Alright, Zima has to admit, she does like this new model a lot. She's all fired up and doesn't even need any music. And there we have it, a module that is essentially also character growth in a very short story format. And coming back now to the art for the module, we do see the new wristband, aka the pretty much the smartwatch she got gifted by, and I want to point this out, even if she was holding back with one hand behind her back, she managed to at some point best goddamn Neural of all people. So props to Zima for that one. But yeah, this wristband right here is the smartwatch, let's put that in quotes, that she got gifted by succeeding. And throughout the story we see some character growth, especially towards the end, in the last segment. But I do want to also come back to the device here in the back. The device here in the back seems to be the actual graduation gift for General Moroz, aka General Frost. Which brings me to the question of why is she being referred here as Moroz, aka Frost. I think this is the first time I remember hearing that word being associated with Zima, because, by the way, for those of you who don't know, Zima is the both Russian word and in a lot of Slavic languages the word for winter, obviously, including my own language creation. It's the same, literally same word. Quick little trivia side note, in my own language, frost is not being said Moroz, but Mraz. Very similar, but different sorting of letters, essentially. But very interesting that Moroz is being referred to here as her name, her surname, question mark? Because so far I do not remember her surname actually ever coming up. We do know her name is Sonia, but is Moroz maybe her family name? That's an interesting question to be placing there. Or maybe it was Moroz was her previous nickname before she adopted another one, being Zima. I don't know. Maybe someone knows. Maybe it was somewhere stated and I just don't remember, but I definitely do not remember her full name and surname being stated. Name, yes. Surname, not from what I can remember, at least. But yeah, anyway, pretty decent little story for Zima. So then, let us now proceed into the module and what it does for the operator. Before we take a look at what the module upgrades, as always, let's take a look at what the traits and talents are at their default. So, considering Zima is a pioneer vanguard, her trait is blocks to enemies. Simple. Also, as a quick little side note, Zima, amongst the vanguard units in general, is more on the tankier side than the offensive side. But, again, she is also a very decent support for other operators. Her second skill buffing attack and defense for operators when it's running, even if it's a short duration, it's still a nice little extra buff for attack and defense. And her one and only talent is yet another support passive for vanguards, and it says Spearheader. All vanguard operators DP cost is -1 when Zima is in the squad, aka vanguards are cheaper to deploy, or rather quicker to deploy in that matter, when she is just in this squad. In the squad, she doesn't have to be deployed, she just has to be in the roster when you're on the map. Alright, so what does the module upgrade? First off, as always, it upgrades the trait. The trait now says blocks to enemies, gains +8% attack and defense while blocking enemies. So again, when she is blocking, she will have a 8% increase in attack and defense. Flat stat wise, it buffs her HP and defense. Again, it makes her just tankier. But what happens to her one and only trait? So then, the DP cost reduction of 1 to all vanguards stays the same, but we gain another line of text here, and it says, further reduces the DP cost of this unit by 1, meaning that she will reduce for herself the cost by an additional 1. This trait will on stage 3 be further upgraded, but not to even more DP reduction, but to be an even further reduction to not just her but other Vanguard units, at least Vanguard units that are Pioneer, because on stage 3 the line will say that it further reduces DP cost for Pioneer units by 1. Once again, Zima is a Pioneer unit, so is Texas, so is Siege, for example. Scavenger would be another example for that, and she is already cheap and easily obtainable considering she is a 4-star and easily maxed out on potential. So yeah, Pioneer units are very easy and very quick to deploy thanks to Zima being in the squad, and once again her second skill buffs the stats for attack and defense on those operators even further. So yeah, he's a pretty decent character or operator to have on the team if you want to support and quicker deploy your vanguards. And that's all I can say here. Pretty decent module. Is it necessary to max it out? Well, if you do use a lot of Pioneers, maybe consider it. Outside of that, she's good to just have on the team if you want to reduce deployment costs for your vanguards in general. So yeah, pretty decent unit. I use her not too much, but I do use her a lot in maps where I pretty much use vanguards more than anything else. But yeah, anyway, that is it for this video. Once again, if you do want to watch the Children of Ursus side story, I left a link in the description of the video. However, if you like this video, please consider leaving a like on it. It helps me a lot. And if you're new to the channel, there is a lot, as I've just mentioned as well, to just listen to and or watch when it comes to stories for Arknights, so consider subscribing. And thank you very much. Outside of that, I hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.